Hello, today I'd like to talk about alphas, betas, and what those terms actually mean and why no one uses them correctly. The actual meanings of the term alpha and beta come from software development practices, and an alpha is something that is complete, basically, I forget, I think it's more or less feature complete. Maybe missing some things here and there. You know, art still needs some polish, placeholder, sound effects, and different things. But the game is playable from the beginning to the end, and all content is roughed out in some form. Beta is then completely feature complete. It's just bugs and polish. And so, those terms don't really apply very well to what most people are giving you through early access and all these different things, and certainly Neverending Nightmares is no exception. There was some video, I don't know, Joe sent me, some game was like advertising their like alpha as F-U-C-K, or maybe it was beta as F-U-C-K, but either way, it's not something you can, there's not really degrees of alpha and beta, it's a milestone, and you hit it or you don't, and of course, in a lot of professional games, you don't quite hit it, and you sort of pretend and tell your publisher that you're really doing better than you actually are. I've been in that situation. But, you know, I think when selling like pre-release and things to, you know, Kickstarter backers, the meanings sort of change. And so what we gave people was really pre-alpha, you know, in that it just wasn't the entire game. It was portions of the game. Now, we felt like we polished things mostly to an alpha level before we released them. Maybe even a little better. I mean, you know, certainly there's some rough alphas out there. You know, before we released it, so people weren't playing, you know, just total, you know, gray box placeholder things, which, you know, you could have in an alpha in some sections. So that's been sort of our alpha, and then we've just sort of been developing kind of episodically, you know, a nightmare at a time, and releasing that and getting feedback and improving them, which I think has worked really well, both from a production schedule standpoint and, you know, creating something interesting for backers. You know, I feel like that they, you know, got a little bit of the story at a time, a little bit of interesting things, and we sort of went back and added more interesting things to earlier levels to give them some replayability, and because they just weren't finished. And so our beta, it's a more, well, again, it's not even a true alpha, because, you know, we're still working on more nightmares, and we sort of adjusted our production schedule to, you know, polish the things we have, and then just sort of add in things as the game progresses, or as time passes, and I think this has been a smart decision, because you know, we've been able to cut some content without totally sort of destroying what we're doing, or having to rework a bunch of stuff. And we have a good handle on what content we have left to create. So I think it's been a good way to approach production, and it's not exactly a, you know, sort of alpha, beta, more traditional thing. Although, I mean, I guess at high impact games, we try to get things up to an alpha level of quality, and then move on and do sort of things a level at a time. And I think each level took us like 2 months or 6 weeks or something, and I think it was, and certainly as the schedule progressed, we fell further and further behind and had to crunch like crazy. But I think that was better than sort of at Heavy Iron Games on The Incredibles. We just sort of lied to ourselves about how done the game was, and then just had to throw everything together at the end. Because we were just sort of sticking our head in the sand and saying, oh, things will come together, things will come together. And certainly they did, but, it was a lot of work. And I wouldn't say they came together too well. I don't think anyone remembers The Incredibles, the game, very fondly. But, we were in... it was really impressive that we managed to ship an entire game. Given sort of the state we were in when we were supposed to be alpha, which was, I think, in June, and I don't know, the movie came out in November. We had to be done in September. I don't remember exactly, but, yeah, so, I don't know. It's just interesting to think that the words alpha and beta have now sort of lost their meaning, and so... I think this is somewhat problematic because, in the Kickstarter, if I say I'm giving alpha access, what does that mean? What does that mean to different people? Is that something they want or is that something they don't want? And everything is just sort of pre-release and prototypes and, unfinished and development, and I just don't know if there's a good words to sort of replace, bastardizing, alpha and beta terminology. And certainly I'm not the only person who does it. I'm probably the only person who feels bad about doing it, because I grumble to myself and say, oh, we're lying to these people. We're not really alpha, and, our beta, it's not a real beta. Oh, our real beta is going to be like a week long or something. We're really going to hit the ground running, and, our beta will sort of be when we launch it for reviews and Let's Players, and probably we'll just give the real beta to everyone who backed the game and help get some bugs. But, that's sort of the interesting thing you can do with, open platforms that you couldn't do with a console game is you can sort of give people these you can just sort of update it and fix all the issues as quickly as possible. So, certainly, we'll probably patch the game a couple times, even after our actual release date, as people find, oh, this crashes on this weird hardware. Although, I feel like I spent some time, getting our hardware support, hopefully as good as we can. So, I don't know. If we'll have any weird crashes like that, but I'm sure we will. So anyway, thanks for watching.